Jenn, thank you so much for joining us here at InfoComm 2025.
Thank you for having me, Guy.
You're very welcome. Now, you have recently joined, but you have a big history in running shows, including technology shows.
Yes.
In what about InfoComm is the same as what you're used to, and what, say, in the AV industry is a little different, would you say?
Well, I ran the largest satellite technology trade show for 15 years, and just like AV, there are a lot of end user vertical markets that use satellite technology. So it was easy for me to come into this market and quickly understand the end user needs and hopefully delivering more to them. What's different for me is satellite doesn't have a channel, right? So they don't really have a distribution network, everything's direct. So that was something for me to learn, and the integrators and distributors have been really very helpful in helping me get up to speed in their business models and how they service the industry.
I noticed that you're very strategic in the way you work, from what I see. So,
Well, thank you for saying that. Yeah.
how have you been thinking about who you want to attract to the show, and then how you want to bring them to the show?
Well, honestly, Guy, I started 6 months out from InfoComm 2025. So the first two things I did was I looked at our audience data and who was organically coming to Orlando versus Las Vegas. And in Orlando, not surprisingly, we see a bigger increase in house of worship, we see more education, we see retail and restaurants. That's indicative of the market here and on the East Coast. We also have a strategic initiative to really focus on enterprise broadcast AV. Right? Our enterprise end users are telling us that they need more education around broadcast production. They need to understand the intersection and convergence of IT, AV, and broadcast. So we really shaped our marketing campaign to make sure that we were attracting those key verticals. And then the other thing I did was I looked at the last 5-year attendee and exhibitor surveys, right? And I put it into our internal chat GPT and had it tell me, what the biggest complaints were over the last 5 years. And it was all very fixable things. It was wayfinding. It was, I don't have enough space to just sit and have a meeting. It was, I want more networking, and I'd like some better food options in the convention center. Mm-hmm. So we really took a mindful approach, I hope you've seen it here, around the branding and creating more seating options and just more pop-up meetups, that are focused on birds of a feather networking. That's the best part about events, right? Is the serendipity of just running into someone and then turning them into a lifelong colleague.
Fantastic, thank you. I noticed you also seem to be quite strategic about the way you do content and getting, examples of people that you'd like to see at the show here speaking as well.
Yes.
That's very interesting to watch.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited with how our main stage experience worked this year. We're continuing to elevate the big stage at InfoComm, and I want to continue that for years to come. So this year, as you mentioned, we had Universal Studio CTO, Dong Lee, and he was on stage with Jeff Zabel, who's the head of entertainment, gaming, and sports for AWS. And they talked about convergence of technology. They talked about AI and how they're utilizing it in Universal. They gave some previews on the Epic Universal Park. So we wanted to lean into being in Orlando too, right? We're here. A lot of our attendees are coming from Disney and Universal and other theme parks, and might as well, present that content. And then yesterday, as you know, we did 2030 Vision.
I went.
What did you think?
It was beyond the scale of it, and the ambition was, the size of the screens and the caliber of the guests and the number of people attending. That was something.
Yes, yeah, it was standing room only in that big ballroom, and we put a lot of work into the production, and I don't mean that in a superficial way, right? We really wanted to curate a relevant content experience and look, be the thought leader for our industry. and really talk about where we're going and what the future will look like. I think we accomplished that yesterday. I'm really proud of how that session came together.
Super. Now, I wonder whether we can have a think about Las Vegas. Is that too soon?
Oh, no, not at all. I've been planning Las Vegas for the last 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Las Vegas is different from Orlando, you were telling me.
Yes.
How is it likely? What differences have you noticed and how are you planning for them?
From an audience perspective, we're going to see more hospitality in Las Vegas, more big sports venues and live event venues. So we'll definitely focus on that. Obviously in Las Vegas, we are in 2 halls. We're going to return to North and Central halls. They're all newly renovated, so when we get there, you'll be greeted by a big digital signage spectacular, which I'm really excited about. And what we've planned for InfoComm 2026 is to lean into AVIXA's tagline, which is "Together we change the way people experience the world." My team and I sat down when thinking about the event design for InfoComm 26 and thought, well, how do people experience the world? And we kind of came up with work and play. So our 2 halls are themed that way. So you'll find products for work with conferencing and collaboration, command and control, digital signage, and learning spaces in Central Hall. And then in our play hall, that's where we're putting audio, lighting, staging, all the live event applications, broadcast AV. And what's really special about what we're doing next year is our show floor will be anchored by application hubs. So we're bringing AV into action, showing it in real life. We intend to have a workplace of the future. For our broadcast, of course, we'll have the AVIXA TV Live Studio come back. We're going to launch an esports hub, to show really from a live events production. So I'm really excited about that. I heard that from a lot of end users. That's another thing I've done in the past few months is just picked up the phone and talked to people who've been coming to InfoComm and said, what could we do differently? What could we do better? And I heard from the end users that they want to really touch and see the technology in use. So we're trying to build that at InfoComm 2026.
You already seem to know, from the way you're talking about it, you already seem to know quite a bit about which bits to put in work and which bits to put in play. So that's worked out.
Yeah.
You came at quite a challenging time for the AV industry. There was some weakness in the corporate and education sectors. There's been some geopolitical concerns about which countries might come. Certain countries might not come to as exhibitors or visitors. Yes. Has that been a challenge? How big a difference has that made?
Honestly, if the show was staging in April, I think it would have been a different event than it is now because things were much more uncertain a couple of months ago than they are now. So I'm grateful for the timing that we've had. I'll be transparent with you, Guy. Our attendance is down a bit from Canada, not surprisingly. But we have growth from Latin America as well as the US. So it's all kind of balanced out. We didn't have a windfall of cancellations, thankfully, on the exhibit floor. We were able to maintain that. But yes, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster, to stick with our universal theme. So.
Yeah. And your job is primarily this US show. Your job is the Americas as a whole, and I believe you have an event in Mexico City.
Yes, yes.
What's happening there?
I'm really proud of our InfoComm America Latina launch. It's the first event that's 100% produced by AVIXA in Latin America. It'll be October 22nd through the 24th. You'll see that same global standard of the InfoComm brand, but the event will be customized for the Latin American region. But we're bringing audio demo rooms. We'll have about 60 exhibitors, more than 100 brands on display, about 3,000 attendees, some great content, manufacturers training. So I'm really excited for the event. I actually did a tour through South America and Mexico in March and got to meet with a lot of the end users and exhibitors firsthand. Again, I'm really big on getting feedback. That's what gives me the direction to move forward, is listening to the community. So, and it's been such a warm and welcoming community.
How's your Spanish? Was it all in English, or do you
Hablo español un poquito.
Oh, right, okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
With a cheat sheet, I'm really good.
Okay.
I spoke Spanish in college, and I'm brushing up. Test me in October. Are you going to come?
I'd love to. Thank you
Yes,
for the invitation.
yes,
I'd love
please
to come.
do. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any final message for people who are thinking about attending InfoComm or exhibiting, about what you're doing currently?
I've been, well, one, I just want to express my gratitude to everybody who came here. But what's blown me away is how our exhibitors have shown up this week. I mean, there is just awe and delight on that show floor. I have just loved walking around. I hope that more and more people can come out and join us in Las Vegas and really get to experience this show. It's a special one.
Thank you, Jenn. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.